we've got another lady racer, Nicole Egner. She is actually the European Women's Champion from last year. So Nicole Egner, the German, she's really going to be difficult too. We've got Andy Hewitt, we've got Phil Prime, we've got Sam Slater. We saw him win twice this weekend now. Brad Philpott, the series organiser and potential. Tobias Lauber, the German, who was 7th in the World Championship last year. Tobias Lauber. Matt Box, the Frenchman, Kevin Gelly-Rafat from Saint-Marins in France, and Dante Dillon from Surrey, who was 21st last year in the British Rental Kart Championship. He's in this mix as well, so it's going to be a tough one. They're out for their qualifying now. They're all starting their qualifying laps as they come around to cross the line. Let's see what happens when this shapes out. This is going to be quite a little bit of an open one. I expect him to see Selena Balnega at, but there's a whole bunch of questions over who might be second, third or fourth. If anybody, Lauber, Philpott, Slater and Nicole Egner, or even Dante Dillon as well. So we'll see what happens as those times come in. So they're all the times. Matt Box is the first one to record one. He's still on pole position. Matt Box from Phil Pryor. Kevin Gelly-Rafat comes in 7th place. Nicole Egner. Brad Philpott takes the provisional pole position. Brad Philpott provisionally pole, and Dante Dillon comes in 2nd. It's still looking good for Philpott, but Selena Balnega has overtaken Brad Philpott. Tobias Lauber comes ahead, and Sam Slater into 5th. And then it's Andy Hewitt who will be 9th. So Selena Balnega has put herself in the first place, pole position for the start here. Selena Balnega, the Dutch lady who's 5 times ladies world champion, and she is ahead of Brad Philpott by just over half a tenth of a second. And Tobias Lauber, the German, who was 7th in the world last year, in 3rd ahead of Dante Dillon. Sam Slater, British driver, who probably most prolific international British driver we have, certainly from a European point of view.
James, I'm seeing deal making already down at the pits.
Really, talk us through that.
Yeah, it's Philpott and Balnega who are having a chat, and Philpott's making that gesture of, look, just go, let's go, let's get away, let's build a gap. And I think when Bradley Philpott says it, he actually means it. It's not a trap leading to an inevitable betrayal.
He's not the sort of person to break a deal, to be honest. If he makes such a deal, he'll do wonders to keep it. However, there's good reason for that, because behind them are Tobias Lauber, Dante Dillon and Sam Slater. Now, in a straight fight from what you've seen this weekend, with Selena Balnega versus Brad Philpott, who would you favour to come out on top?
Oh, I think you've got to give it to Balnega there at the moment for this.
And she's starting ahead, so if anything, Philpott is probably looking to be sort of drawn ahead. He's probably more than anything saying to Selena, listen, do you know what? Go and win this. I'm not going to challenge you, which means that Selena will not be looking to make any kind of defensive action anywhere around the course. And that will be Brad Philpott's best chance of pulling away of Tobias Lauber and Dante Dillon and Sam Slater, because it is a bit job on behind. I think Selena Balnega might be odds on for victory here, but 2nd is up for grabs. Philpott's there at the moment. Here we go for the start. Selena Balnega leads them round. She's on the power now and across the line, and Brad Philpott has got that kind of start he wanted. Selena Balnega is in the lead, but Philpott is in as comfortable a second as you could have at this early stage. And Selena Balnega through this snail section, she's really clean and crisp, and shows she's not under threat because of that deal with Brad Philpott that Philpott himself made. To the backstretch, let's have a look on the screen here. They file through the final turn there onto the backstretch. That's it. Selena Balnega has the lead from Philpott and Tobias Lauber, Dante Dillon and Sam Slater. Now, despite all the deals, this is not really a clean-cut race, because Selena Balnega is trying to pull away, but Philpott's staying with her, Lauber's staying with him, Dillon's staying with him. There's a bit of a gap maybe to Slater, but I think Brad Philpott, even in this early stage, a deal with Balnega about maintaining position would ideally a little bit further than half a kart length from Tobias Lauber. Philpott is definitely under threat.
Well, we're making a lot of assumptions. I mean, he could have offered a deal, and they could have said no, bog off.
Well, what Selena should have said is, yes, Brad, and I'll pay half price my entry next year. Is that all right?
Yes.
Yeah, that would be the deal I'd be making with Philpott. But Selena Balnega is ever so slightly pulling away. I think we're going to see Philpott having to go defensive, because although Selena Balnega is in the lead, she's not actually holding Brad Philpott up, and Brad Philpott's going to be all on his own in a rearguard action against Tobias Lauber, the German who was 7th in the world last year. So Philpott is against the world number 7 in a rearguard action.
So what I noticed though in qualifying, Sam Slater, who's normally quite composed in the kart, was really uncomfortable shifting around, driving very differently to what we'd seen. So I think for some reason he's not quite comfortable in this heat, as we see the number 20 of Nicole Egner come into the pits here for a pit stop, get it out of the way. Now she's off on her own.
Yeah, that's right. She was second in the Team Kart Cup last year. That's an event in Germany. More importantly, you know, as a representative thing, she is the European champion for ladies of last year. So Nicole Egner, who was just in the pit there, the German lady, was certainly in fine form in the European Ladies Championship. She came out the champion last year. So as they continue around in the snail, there's Selena Balnega with a slightly increasing lead over Brad Philpott. Tobias Lauber is still glued to the back of Philpott. Dante Dillon is there behind Lauber, but it's all about Lauber on Philpott at the moment here. We're looking at Selena Balnega there with an increasing lead. The Dutch lady is coming around. This is going to be the camera corner. There it is. Look at that. Brad Philpott with Tobias Lauber. That's how close it is in the battle behind. So there's the first place. Selena Balnega. Brad Philpott's in second. Tobias Lauber, the German's third, is putting increasing pressure on Brad Philpott as they enter the snail section. Philpott's second place is not looking secure. If anyone can hold on to it with fairness, it is Brad Philpott. He's very good at this kind of thing, but he's going to have to be on top form if he's going to hold off Tobias Lauber, because Tobias Lauber has got no respect. A little bit of a shake of the head with the close-up from the camera. It's amazing what a camera close-up shows, isn't it?
Also, like, at what price? At what price is Philpott willing to go defensive and hold off Lauber? Is he willing to let go of the leader? Is he willing to let the carts behind catch up? So, you know, it doesn't come without cost.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, Lauber, is he? I wonder even if Lauber does feel as though Philpott's holding him up, if he's going to come in the pits. It would be a pretty gutsy move, because that'll put him right alongside Andy Hewitt right now on our reckoning.
Oh, well, that would certainly change everything, because you'd free up Philpott to go chasing.
Yeah. Lauber's probably best off staying there, putting the pressure on, isn't he, really?
I think so, because we saw that we saw it earlier with Barsh, didn't we, where he took the pressure off the kart he was chasing to try and undercut. All he did was make that kart go faster, because he no longer had a Barsh in his mirror.
Exactly that. And although Balnega is pulling away slightly in the lead with a number of kart lengths, it is a bit of a three-way breakaway when you consider how they're pulling away from Dillon and in turn from Slater. So although Selena Balnega does have a second up on Brad Philpott, it is still within sight, you know. So Tobias Lauber is probably best placed to sit in there with the leader Balnega and Brad Philpott. As I say, although Selena does have that lead of just over a second, it is kind of a bit of a three-kart pulling away from Dante Dillon in fourth. I'm sure that'll turn in one kart. This gap is getting bigger all the time, and I'm sure each time through we'll see Selena Balnega, who is the fastest in this race so far on pure lap times, pulling away clear. Certainly Tobias Lauber, it would be a mistake, I think, at this stage from what we've seen, but he is the world number 7. He will probably know a bit more than us Spanners about how to approach this situation.
We're knowledgeable AF, James, but I think Brad doesn't quite get the credit he deserves here. As we look at number 18, Rufat, coming into the pits. Let's just see if he can get away cleanly. He's urging the car on, jumping around as around the corner comes Nicole Egner past him, so he's unable to make any kind of progress through the field. Is Rufat doing that? But Philpott doesn't quite get the credit for the fact that he is absolutely working his butt off all weekend at BRKC, organising this, putting it all on, as well as the week leading up to it, and then he has to go and jump in the car.
Yeah, I mean, well, it sounds like the crazy, a bit of an odd thing to say, but he's within the same week he's gone from painting the Lose to leading a British Rental Kart Championship race. You know, that's the kind of week Brad Philpott has had here at Formula Fast. Now, Brad Philpott, he's not like an employee of the circuit, but as the promoter of the BRKC, he does work very closely and very strongly with the organiser of the event itself on the day or on the weekend, which of course is Phil Stanley. So Brad Philpott, he's the one who presents the event, you know, he promotes it, he gets the entries in, he deals with that kind of thing, and then Phil Stanley runs it on the day. So Brad Philpott, who we're looking at, he's the one who came up with the idea. I remember way back in the day, there was myself and Brad, we were looking for a championship racing. We couldn't find any of rental karting, so the only thing to do was to invent some. invent one, and that was the BRKC. Alex Van Gien became involved and was helping Brad, with dealing with the organisations, the various tracks that were running it as a multi-kart venue. Brad's girlfriend, Rebecca, was closely involved in that too, in the organising those early days. But now it's a one-track affair, and much better for it, really.
And while we talk about him, he's managed to just eke out a little bit of a comfort zone.
Yeah, and it's actually, talking the comfort zones across the board there, because Selena Balnega has pulled out to 1.3 now. Brad's got half a second on Tobias Lauber, and Lauber has got no one behind him till Dante Dillon, who's not really in sight unless we're talking about the backstretch. So it is looking as comfortable as can be for those top ones. The top three have to race absolutely on the limit. Well, everyone's got to race on their own personal limit, but the top three have to be setting almost record times, but they are sort of maintaining that status quo there. There's Balnega at the end of the straight with Philpott and Tobias Lauber behind. So there goes Brad Philpott, there's Tobias Lauber. Tobias Lauber, of course, the German, as we've been saying, he was 7th in the world last year and part of the Nations Cup winning team as well. That was a German team. He's racing with Eco Racing Germany. Part of Eco Racing Germany includes the world champion Michael Schuttler. Like with Blue Star from Belgium, they also have an Eco Racing Germany 2, of which Nicole Egner, who's currently 9th, the European ladies champion, currently 9th. She's part of Eco Racing. She's part of Eco Racing 2, which is their second team, running in 9th in this race as we speak.
Blue Star, they're like the Death Star of this championship, aren't they? Dominating.
They've been on top for a long time, have Blue Star. Now, Blue Star, particularly are endurance specialists, and when you imagine if you were to team up in the same team,
do you think they'll ask me?
Well, I'm
open to offers.
It doesn't hurt. They can always say no, although a punch in the mouth often offends.
Wow.
Yeah, but if you were to imagine you had an endurance racing team and it had Johan Medart, Ruben Boutens and Matthias Grooten in it, you would think that was a pretty formidable team. Well, we're talking about Blue Star Racing. Now, that's how it is. Logan Sune is a member of that team. It's a pretty all-star cast. Greg Laporte, of course, is part of the team there. Vastly experienced, very quick, with a huge set of credentials behind them in terms of championships won. They do turn up and they do very well. But Eco Racing from Germany is very strong too. One of their drivers is the current world champion.
A bit of an impact with the wall there from Balnega on the exit of the final hairpin. A shake of the head. I don't think that's going to cost her the race.
No, she actually contacted the wall, did she? So
yeah,
that's probably
a fairly significant slap here.
Yeah, a certified hit, was it?
There was definite contact.
Well, that's probably the one single error that we've seen from the Dutch lady all weekend. She has won 3 races. She's looking to make it 4 out of 4, which means she'd be unbeaten in a British Rental Car Championship race. Obviously, exploring the limits there. You're talking of the area against the pit wall, was it?
I can point to it there.
Yeah, I can see that. So that actually is a really easy place to hit the wall here at Formula Fast, because people are so keen to get on the power, because you've got such a run across the start line into the snail section. It's the longest time when you're on the power, and yet there's a tight hairpin leading out of it. So the temptation to get on the power really early is high, and a fraction early and you're going to touch the wall, which is what we've seen from the leader, Selena Balnega. However, no harm done. She's got a 1.7 second lead over Brad Philpott, who in turn has almost a second over Tobias Lauber, the German. And so there's Selena Balnega, and she's going to come into view now. There she is, the race leader, Selena Balnega. Here's Brad Philpott, back to Selena, but Philpott's behind by nearly 2 seconds now, 1.8 seconds, and then behind Brad Philpott in turn is Tobias Lauber. There's Tobias Lauber with the mostly white helmet.
Andy Hewitt skids into the pits with 2 really aggressive and well-timed stops, and he's on his way, and he will take up his place behind a kart that has gone out of my view, if I'm honest, James.
Yeah, well, he came out just behind the leading 3, so he came out right behind Tobias Lauber, who was there in 3rd place. So I think Lauber would be pretty relieved to have jumped him, because it'll cost him time over Brad Philpott. And the way the lap times are shaping out, the tightness and closeness with which they have to each other, I don't think that's time he'd make back. There's Selena Balnega on screen.
Yeah, the leader's coming up against some traffic now then, so it's Rufat that she's coming up against now.
Yeah, Kevin Gelly Rufat, the Frenchman, and Nicole Egner, the German lady who's the European champion, They're about to go lap down to Selena Balnega. Now, as there are 2 karts in front, I wonder if Selena's going to pit this time. She's got nearly 9 minutes left of the race, so she's not really in the pressure to do it. She's going down the inside, but can she make it? Yes, she can.
I mean, Rufat couldn't have left any less space without being physically in that space.
Yes, it was definitely a block pass there by Selena Balnega. We've seen Gelly Rufat being pretty forceful all weekend, to be fair. He's pretty racy, no matter what kart's around. He's probably even racy with those stationary in the pit lane.
Philpott's doing his Sebastian Vettel impression, calling for blue flags to be waved at the back markers.
Yeah, and Philpott would know a lot about that because he has actually beaten Sebastian Vettel in the
Oh,
Race
look
of
at
Champions.
that. He's telling off Rufat as they go down the straight. He leaned forward out of his kart so that Rufat would be able to see him, signalling to stay out of the way. He's not happy at all. And into the pits comes number 17. So that is Tobias Loeb, who was behind Philpott and actually, I think, might have been closing the gap a little because of Rufat holding up Philpott. And now he's seen this as a good opportunity to pit.
Yeah, that's an inspired move by the world number 7, Tobias Lauber. Lauber has obviously seen that everybody has lost a little bit of time behind Gelly Rufat. Now, what he's done, he's pitted himself away from it. Gelly Rufat, he has been in the pit, so Lauber's actually going to have to catch and then deal with Gelly Rufat anyway, but not yet. So he may make up some time, and when Philpott comes in the pits and then goes out, Lauber may have created a situation where Philpott has now lost time behind the back marker, which Lauber doesn't have to suffer for. So what I'm saying is that if Lauber finds that Philpott pits before Lauber catches Gelly Rufat, there could be a difference there that will benefit Lauber, the German.
I think Philpott's got to stay out now and consolidate what was an increasing gap over Lauber.
Yeah, Lauber has done an inspired move, what could turn out to be an inspired move. It's very technical, this indoor karting. That's the thing. If people are new to the Indoor Championships, we've got people watching on Motorsport TV, we've got people watching on the live stream on YouTube. It's not all about just being fast and trying to overtake everybody. You've really got to master the strategy of it. Now, Brad Philpott's making a move on the German, Nicole Egner, the European Ladies Champion. He gives her a wave of thanks. Nicole Egner straight out the way there. She actually hasn't lost time. There is a thing in racing, and it's particularly important in endurance racing, and we've already seen that Nicole Egner has been an expert in that, where you can let people through. It's almost like lapped management. If you're a slow vehicle, or you're running a different class, an endurance race, something, you can let people through without losing time. And that's what we've seen there by Nicole Egner.
Yeah.
Gelly Rufat, you make a fight of it. Not only do they lose time and get annoyed, as per Philpott, you actually lose time yourself because they're going to force their way through. Whereas when they catch you, they're going to think, oh yeah, well, it's Dwayne Stoddart, it's Nicole Egner. They always move out of the way straight away, so they don't give you any hassle, and you save time as well in your own race.
And if you're Stoddart, you use that as an opportunity to follow the quicker guys and improve your own racing. As into the pits comes Matt Box. This should be fairly standard. We're getting it to the part of the weekend now where the drivers know what they're doing. A little bit of a stutter, but he's away.
So we're looking at the tail of the karts going down a long backstretch. That's Brad Philpott, series organiser. Brad Philpott, a long list of credentials behind him. Selena Balnega is heading now towards the snail section.
Yeah, we've not really mentioned Bradley Philpott is a series champion at the Nordschleife, is it?
Yeah, he's won the VLN Championship a couple of times. That's the endurance race series that they run there at Nürburgring, the Nordschleife. He's also competed the 24 hours. I myself have been very fortunate to be twice third, second and first in class in the Nürburgring 24 hours. But Brad Philpott has actually won the championship for the series which has that as a round, the VLN series. They alongside the 24 hours, they run 4 hours, 6-hour races. And Philpott with Net Motorsport has been a part of that scene for a while now and has twice won the title in class, which is a very impressive performance indeed. It's as scary as it seems, especially at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, it's been famous recently for the Brundles going and competing in that same series in a different class, and yeah, it looks frightening.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, especially when it's dark, mate. It's fairly leery. But Brad Philpott also has been doubling up in karting as well. He's not left karting behind, and in the TC UK series, which is based in Corby in Northamptonshire, they have an indoor kart track there. Brad has also taken the title there this year too, or last year, shall I say, 2019. So amongst everybody who seems to have a championship under their belt, a recent championship, there's one for Philpott in karting too. There is Brad. We've been talking about him. He's on the crane camera turn. There's just less than 4 minutes now. Selena Balnega does seem fairly secure in first place. However, the top four have yet to pit.
Yeah.
That includes Selena Balnega, Phil Pott, Dante Dillon and Sam Slater. Now, we've been fairly quiet about Dante Dillon and Sam Slater in this race, but they are doing particularly well, especially Dante Dillon. He's been coming on. There's someone in the pits, I think, Spanners.
Yeah, we've got the Kart 13 there, so that is Phil Pryor. He'll be looking to come out ahead of Kart number 8, Matt Box, but it's not going to happen. I think instead he's going to have to settle slotting in. But he's between the two leaders.
Yeah, now that he may incur the wrath of Phil Pott if he doesn't get out of the way. PDQ. Phil Pott's coming down the inside. Pryor's out of the way. Yeah, Phil Pott's made the move now, out of your view, Spanners, but Phil Pott's made the move. He's still got in sight. Dante Dillon in the pit.
Dante Dillon has just scared me more than I've ever been scared. He's just flown into the pit without slowing down for a second. That was crazy and good. Crazy good.
Yeah, there's Selena Balnega. She's another one who has not stopped. She's got 32 laps in, leaving the pit stop really late. She's obviously been saving the pit stop in case she ran into trouble, but luckily it's been one of those races where a big gaggle has not formed. Selena, with the speed that she has and the ability to control the pace at the front and slightly pull away to give breathing space, has given herself the comfort zone of if a gaggle of back markers should appear and she should catch them, she always has that option of making a pit stop. It's going to come fairly soon, that, and it'll come soon for Phil Pott and Slater. Lauber we've seen in the pits, and Lauber's going to be the one we need to keep an eye on. Here's Phil Pott.
Pott's in. Phil Pott's in. And he's
stalled.
had a stall.
What about Lauber? What about Lauber?
Okay, so Phil Pott's in. Lauber's coming around the corner. I'll tell you what happened to Phil Pott to see if he can stay ahead.
Slater.
No, it's been, I think, a disastrous pit stop. Basically, he stopped, the engine cut out, the marshal went to get it, but then I think it did restart itself. But yeah, that's not of his own doing at all.
Right, so coming out the Snell section, there's Brad Philpott and there's Sam Slater. Sam Slater's just waving, saying go, 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 because Slater's yet to make a pit stop. It'll probably happen on this lap.
Race leader is in the pits. All she has to do is keep this smooth. It looks perfect, and she's back out in the lead.
And she'll want to come out ahead of the back marker. Is that, I'm not sure who that is, Gelly Ruffat. She wants to stay ahead of him.
Sam Slater doesn't fancy that scrap with Philpott. Comes in for a pit stop. Not going to challenge Dante Dillon and comes back exactly where he was. But yeah, it wasn't great for Philpott. I don't think that stopped. Where does he ended up there on the final? Well,
Spanners, it's not worked out bad. Now Philpott will be mortified about what's been going on, but Tobias Lauber somehow, while we've been looking and talking about others, has lost some time. Remember, he was right with Philpott. He's actually, despite all Philpott's issues in the pit lane, or what seemed to be issues, he's still 2.5 seconds behind.
So he would have had to have negotiated Ruffat and Pryor as
absolutely.
well.
I think that's cost Lauber. Tobias Lauber, that early pit stop looked like it was going to work. It turned out that it didn't. And what's interesting is Sam Slater was urging Philpott on. He knew he was going to come in this lap anyway himself, and it was just like, look, just get on with it. He clearly saw that Philpott was flustered, and Philpott is I hope you won't mind me saying he's a fairly emotional guy when it comes to it. Effective but emotional would be the way I'd describe him.
I would say he's emotional, but not out loud. Not out loud.
Yeah, don't say it on air, Spanners. But Selena Balnega continues to lead from Brad Philpott, who we're talking about. Here's Andy Hewitt, where is he? He's got the best pit stop of them all in this race. So Andy Hewitt, although he's 10th, is actually the best on pit stops. So as they come around, we're looking at the last lap being given. Surely Selena Balnega has the lead there. Oh no, we've got 10 seconds to go. So 10 seconds to go. Selena Balnega leads from Brad Philpott, Tobias Lauber. Everybody's been in the pits. Dante Dillon is still 4th and Sam Slater 5th. There's Selena Balnega, the ladies world champion, 5 times in a row. Coming around on that big sweeping bend now towards the back stretch. She's going to be getting the last lap warning. No, they're bringing the checker flag out by the looks of it. So the last lap now. Here comes Selena Balnega. She's coming through to take the win. She makes it 4 out of 4. An unprecedented BRKC performance there by Selena Balnega. And here comes Brad Philpott. He takes 2nd. And then Tobias Lauber, where is he? There he is. He takes 3rd. Tobias Lauber, the German, 7th in the world last year. And then it's Dillon. There's Dillon. And next up will be Sam Slater. A little bit of a gap there. There he is, Sam Slater. And then Matt Box, Phil Pryor, Nicole Egner, the Frenchman, Kevin Gelly Ruffat, and Andy Hewitt rounding out the finishes. There's the start line as they continue to cross the line. And Yeah, into the pits now. That's the race winner, Selena Balnega. Unprecedented British Rental Kart Championship. It's 4 wins out of 4 starts. This is her debut here in the British Championship, and so far is absolutely unbeaten in any race. Down to you, Spanners.
4 wins out of 4 for Balnega there. Absolutely fantastic. We go towards the back of the pack as well. Sam Slater in 5th place, looking a little... You'll have to repeat that, crew. Sam Slater looking a little bit out of sorts at the back. Definitely looked uncomfortable from qualifying. And then Dante Dillon as well, running around, having for once a quiet, uneventful and quick race, which is good news for him. I think that's him out of the competition now, but a nice one to finish on. As we see the next people lining up, we can grab a word with Bradley Philpott as well, and we'll make sure we get a win with race winner Selena Balnega. Hey, Brad, come on over. I'm here with race organiser and 2nd place in that heat, Bradley Philpott. Let's start with the race. It was quite eventful, actually. The back markers made it interesting.
Yeah, the back markers did lose me a little bit of time, but to be honest, I had a big enough gap to buy us in 3rd place that it was a minor stress at the time, but in the grand scheme of things, it didn't really affect it. Something which almost affected it was my engine stalling in the pits.
Did it actually stall all the way?
It stalled enough so that the throttle didn't respond anymore, and it just about fired back up into life. Probably lost around half a second, but again, didn't affect the result. Selena was just too quick.
How do you have the mental capacity to issue instructions to back markers while you're in the kart, leaning forward enough for them to see it?
So just to explain that, I was being allowed through, but I kind of was only half being allowed through, and I was asking him to allow me onto the racing line rather than kind of holding position. So
you need just like transponders so you can talk to them. But if it's any consolation, that was the same situation for the leader as well. What was the agreement you made with Selena beforehand?
I just told her at the start that I wasn't going to do anything silly. I needed the points, so I said basically I wasn't going to attack her till after the pit stops, and as it turned out, there was no opportunity for that either, so it didn't really matter.
Fantastic. Race organiser Bradley Philpott, fantastic watching you race. During the semi-finals, please come and keep me company sometime in the pits and we'll have a chat. No, to talk to me. Let's have a chat with race winner as well. Selena, if you'll come over here. Selena Balnega, 4 wins out of 4. Wow, that's frightening. Were you expecting that level of success so far?
No, I wasn't really expecting this. Well, I had 21. That's one of the best cars there is around. So I knew my quali was really going to be important because there were fast guys. Also Bradley with Kart 19, also pretty fast. And Tobias Laube. But I did a pretty decent qualifying. And Bradley said, I'm not going to fight you, so...
Did you believe him when he says stuff like that? You go, oh yeah, I've fallen for that before.
Well, I believed him because he said to me, I need some points. So I think he's really happy with his place right now. So
you're going to be right up the front in the semis, aren't you? Like, you've got to be looking forward to that. You're up for it?
Well, it depends on the card. If I have a good card, I hope to be top 3 or something. But I'm scared, honestly, because maybe you don't know what's going to happen. So
see, I think that you were worried that you were underweight, so you're collecting these medals just to increase the ballast for the next race. Congratulations, well done. 4 wins out of 4, superb watching you race. That is the end of the heat, and we're getting ready for qualifying in the next heat.